In a video game, music is absolutely essential to generate emotion, to creating atmosphere, drawing us in without us even realizing it. I mean, take this intro for instance. If I was just to suddenly cut the music, it would get pretty boring. All right, let's bring the music back now. Music has the ability to create tension, to lighten the mood, to make things really intense, to draw out dread or awe. This is a tier list I've wanted to make for a while because Dead by Daylight really shines in the music category, especially the chase music. So tonight, we are going to be tier listing every killer's chase music in Dead by Daylight. Now before we begin, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for all the support recently. It's been incredible and I am truly grateful. My goal was to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we've demolished that goal together. So it's time for a new goal. If you're not already subscribed, would you please consider subscribing and helping us reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year? I'd truly appreciate it. Thanks. Now, let's tier list some music. All right, before we begin, there are 9 killers who share the default chase music. That's Trapper, Wraith, Nurse, Hag, Huntress, Bubba, Freddy, Pig, and I totally miscounted on my fingers, but the 9th is Plague. So these 9 killers share 3 default tracks that roll at random. Truth be told, I actually really like the default tracks. I just don't like that they're the default tracks. I feel at this point in the game's life that every killer should have their own unique music. So I really like the default tracks, but I feel like I have to rank them down because they're the default tracks. I was trying to figure out how I would approach this, and the idea I came up with, call me crazy, is I'll rank the 3 tracks themselves using Trapper, Wraith, and Nurse, how I feel about the tracks themselves. And then everybody past it that uses the default tracks, I'm gonna rank down a tier, because it's the default. I'm actually going to put everybody past Nurse who uses the default tracks in C tier. And what I wish Behaviour would do is take each of the 3 default tracks and assign 1 to Trapper, 1 to Wraith, and 1 to Nurse and rework the rest. And I think then we'd be in a really good spot. So I'm going to, I guess, kind of rank them based on that thinking and go from there. So I'm excited to read the comments later and figure out everybody who actually skipped over this part and then is either really confused or really upset with me based on how I rank the later ones. That being said, let's get started with Trapper. All right, so that was default theme 2. This is what I think of as stereotypical DBD for whatever reason. In my mind, this is like DBD's chase music. And I like it. It's got the rhythmic drums. I was a drummer if you didn't know. So I really like anything with good drums in it. And I think it builds intensity. It's not my favorite, but I really do like it. I think it's solid. I think if they just made it Trapper's chase music, that would be the smart move. And so if it was just Trapper's, I'd put it B. I think it's solid. So yeah, there you go. All right, on to Wraith. All right, so that recording with Wraith got the default theme music number 1, and I really like this one. This one is A tier to me. So we'll put Wraith up in A tier to represent track number 1. And I just think it's a little more, I don't know. I think it's the slap bass. I really like slap bass. So anything that has that and it's kind of crazy and intense and it is just all over the place and I love it. So it just creates, to me, it creates the feeling of chaos and I like that. And so we'll put Wraith representing track number 1 up in A tier. On to Hillbilly, who got his own chase music randomly. All right, I really like Hillbilly's. It's got the high-pitched, almost like sirens going off. His is just unsettling to me, and I like it for that. So I'm gonna put Hillbilly up in A. Why they gave him his own track? I don't, and not the other 3. It's like, you 3 share. You are special. You get your own theme music. I keep calling it theme music. It's chase music. Get it right, Roberts. All right, on to Nurse, who represents default 3, because that's the one I got while I was recording. So I feel like the default 3 is a lot like default 2. Default 1 stood out a little bit more to me. Default 3 and default 2 were very, very similar. So the one Trapper had and the one Nurse had in these particular recordings. So I'm going to put that at B. I think it's solid. I think it's good. I think it creates energy and excitement, but it doesn't it's not wow. It's just, it's good. It's, yeah, B tier. There you go. So all the defaults from here on out, I'm going to rank down to C tier because they're default. All right, so on to Myers. All right, so Myers obviously has the classic Halloween sounds. The high pitches create the intensity, the horns going dun, dun, dun. It screams scary to me. So I went to Six Flags a lot as a kid, and they would, every October, they do Fright Fest, and all I can remember is the Halloween music playing all the time. So even before I was old enough to watch the movies, the Halloween music became synonymous to me with horror, as I'm sure it is for a lot of people. And so I have to rank this one S tier. This one is, even though it's very repetitive, I could see somebody maybe being annoyed by it over time. To me, it's just quintessential horror, and it's perfect for his character, obviously, and just creates that intensity in the game. I just think it's so well done. We'll put it in S. There you go. All right, so obviously Hag had the default music, so because it's default, we're putting it in C. And if you're just now skipping forward to Hag, go back and read my explanation as to why the other defaults are higher. That's all I can read my explanation. Watch my explanation, because this is videos that we're making on YouTube. Okay. All right, next up is Doctor. All right, so Doctors is deeply unsettling to me. It's slightly more annoying to me. Can I say I enjoy? I mean, some of these I actually legitimately enjoy. I don't enjoy this one, but I think it's perfect for him. It brings out kind of that just insanity that his character is. And so I like it for that. I think it's very well done. It's not my favorite, but it's very well done. So we'll put it up in A. I think it's solid chase music. All right, so Huntress, again, it pains me to do this to Huntress, but because it's the default, it's C. She needs her own chase music. Now, does her lullaby count as chase music? No, I don't think it does. So I can't rank her up for that. I wish I could. If I love her lullaby. Her lullaby is terrifying. I really want to put her up because of the lullaby, but that's not chase music. Okay, I'll leave her in C. I'm not gonna break my own rules. Her lullaby is great. Some of the other characters actually have what's called a lullaby. I can't count hers and not the others, and I'm not gonna count the others. So okay, so she's C tier. Like I said, she's C tier. Next up is Bubba. All right, Bubba's also got default, so he is going C as well. Next up, we have Freddy. All right, so Freddy also has the default theme music, so he is C. Up next, we have Pig. All right, so Pig's obviously default again, so she is in C with the others. And then we come to Clown. All right, so I said about, what was it, Doctor, about how his music just kind of brought out the insanity that is his character. I feel very similar to Clown, and it's also, it sounds like a carnival. They encapsulated carnival and insanity and terrifying and put it into a track for his chase music. And I think it's so well done. Again, it's not my favorite. I wouldn't say I enjoy listening to it. It can get a little grating. So I think I'll put him up with Doctor. Put him in A. It's so well done for him, but not my favorite. Yeah, A tier. I feel comfortable about A tier. All right, next up we have Spirit. absolutely love Spirits. It's amazing to me how well done some of these tracks are because they really encapsulate who the killer is and their personality or their lore or whatnot. And so she's all broken, right? And she's fractured between despair and anger. I feel that in her chase music. It's just creepy. It's terrifying. It sounds otherworldly, just like she is now otherworldly. It's broken. It doesn't quite fit together, but it does. And it just gets creepy, especially at the end when it starts to go up and the pitch starts to really ramp up. And it just is so well done. I love it. It's S tier. So Legion's chase music now changes based on which mixtape add-on you take with you into the trial, and they're awesome. I love these. Now, I didn't record actual live games with Legion. I didn't want to record 5 different live games. So I just recorded them all in a custom game, triggered the chase music, and let it play out. So that's why it'll be a little bit different than the others. All the others were live games. Legion's, I actually staged each of these. So bear with me on those. But I will notate which mixtape add-on I was using for each one. All right, so as a whole, I love this idea for Legion, the different mixtapes, and I love that it switches up the chase music slightly based on which person's mixtape you are taking. So as a whole, I'm ranking them S tier. If you didn't catch it, each one has a different instrument being featured. So Frank's is very drum heavy, Julie's is rhythm guitar, Joey's is bass, Susie's is lead guitar, and the Fuming mixtape, which is the iridescent one, is just kind of has this otherworldly, to be honest, it almost sounds like a frog to me, in like an evil frog in the background. I'm sorry, you'll probably never be able to unhear that now. That being said, Susie's is probably my favorite of the 5, but I absolutely love Legion's reworked chase music. It's fantastic. So S tier, absolutely. It's just so intense, you know, like you just, you get into it. Especially if you're playing as Legion. It really helps you feel a whole lot better about playing Legion. If you sound cool while you're doing it. Yeah, there you go. All right, next up, Plague. Oh boy, does this one hurt. It's default. C. Behaviour, come on. You know, she could have such cool chase music, I think. Make it happen, Behaviour. Please, 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 pretty please. It pains me to put my main in C, but it's what I said I would do at the top. Yeah, so I'm following through with it. She's in C. All right, Ghostface, who also just had a rework recently. All right, so I think Ghostface is a bit divisive. It's kind of like you either love it or you hate it. I know a lot of people, it grates on them pretty bad. It doesn't bother me that way, but I completely understand it for those that it does. I'm going to put him in A tier for me. I like it. I think it's unsettling, unnerving, similar in nature to some of the other ones we've ranked already. I don't love it as much as Myers or The Shape or the other S tier ones. So I'm going to put him A tier. Now, I also believe, didn't he get a rework from, so the PTB came out with his rework, and then I think enough people complained, didn't they rework it for the live launch? But even then, it's still pretty divisive if I'm not mistaken. So let me know down in the comments, do you like his chase music, his new chase music that is, or not? Let me know. Total respect if you don't. For me, I really like it. It's up in A, but let me know where you would rank it. All right, on to demo. All right, so demo, instant S tier for me. It is otherworldly, it is intense, it is unnerving. It's all the things that made some of the other S tier ones S tier for me. Now, somebody let me know. I'm pretty sure it comes straight from the show too, which just makes it that much more awesome. If it doesn't come straight from the show, it sure sounds like it. It's just so perfectly well done that it's got to be S tier for me. All right, on to Oni. All right, so his is perfect for him. It sounds exactly what I would imagine if an Oni was chasing me. Yeah, that's not something I ever thought I would imagine. But it fits perfectly. It fits it fits the era of his character perfectly, I feel. It's intense, it's unnerving, it's a lot of the other things I've been saying. You got the drums in the background driving the whole thing. I like it a lot. I don't love it. I wouldn't put it S tier. It's not my favorite, but I like it quite a bit. So it's a solid A tier to me. All right, we got Deathslinger. I can never say that. Deathslinger. All right, I don't know why, but I really like Deathslingers. I can't say his name for some reason. I really like Deathslingers. Really, I can't do it. I really like Deathslingers. Chase music. It's kind of weird to me because it doesn't sound very Western to me, which I would expect for him. So in some ways, I feel it doesn't match his character as well as most of the other ones do. I enjoy it. I think it's good. It's creepy like him. It seems to me like they could have gone more Western with it easily and didn't for some reason. So it just doesn't seem to match his character as much as some of the others. So I'm going to put him in B tier for that. All right, Pyramid Head. All right, his is, in my opinion, one of the most intense in the entire game. I think it's very deeply disturbing. Got crazy sounds going on. It's very intense, like camping. And yeah, I think it's fantastic. It's S tier. Yeah, there you go. Silent Hill fans, let me know. Does it come from the game? I'm curious on that one. Or was it created specifically for Dead by Daylight? That would intrigue me. But either way, I think it's S tier. I think it's so well done. All right, now we have Blight. All right, so I know all of you are probably jumping in the comments right now to roast me on not knowing how to play Blight. I have two things to say to you. Number one, you're not wrong. Number two, it's really hard to use his special ability and pinball around and capture good chase music because it actually is so loud that it covers up the chase music. So that is my defense. With that being said, Blight's to me feels the most cinematic. It feels to me if John Williams composed a DVD track. That's what Blight's sounds like to me. I think it's well done. I don't love it. It feels epic, but it doesn't feel as terrifying, horrifying, unnerving, intense as the other ones. So I'm gonna put it in B. I think it's good. I like it. It's a nice change of pace to the others. Some of the other ones are just so much more unnerving and terrifying to me that it feels not as good. But that's just me. So there you go. All right, Twins. All right, so you got the bass, foundational, rhythmic stuff going on. It's intense, so slightly unnerving, but what makes it more so to me is kind of the atmospheric, scratchy sounds that are going on. I think it's well done. Again, not S tier, but I feel it stands out among some of the other ones. It's got a lot of atmosphere to it. I'm gonna put it in A. Yeah, I like the Twins chase music. All right, and now we're on to Trickster. All right, so his sounds truly unhinged, just like him. So I like it a lot for that. I will say though, in his lore, they talk about how he made music out of the screams of his victims, which is like terrifying to think about. And I feel it's a missed opportunity because I don't hear any of that in his chase music. I feel his chase music should have more, It would have been cool if his chase music had been one of his tracks, if you will. And it just doesn't connect that way for me. So I like it because it does sound truly unhinged, which matches his character, but then it really doesn't match what I imagine his music, the music he would create would have been. So for that reason, again, I'm going to put it with Deathslinger, in that it matches his character, but it doesn't. It's a missed opportunity to me to match with his lore. So I'll put him in B for that reason. So, all right, on to Nemesis. All right, so we can just ignore that missed tentacle strike. But Nemesis, I think his is fantastic. S tier, putting him in S tier. For whatever reason, it sounds hulking and terrifying. And maybe it's just a dum, dum, as you walk. He just sounds imposing himself, even without music. And the music just pairs so well, in my opinion. Now, somebody tell me, is that music directly out of Resident Evil 3 Remake, or did they make it up for DVD? It just matches him perfectly, I feel. And it's intimidating, and it's intense, and it's adds stress when I'm playing against him, and kind of charges me up when I'm playing as Nemesis. So I like his chase music quite a bit. So S tier, yeah, easy S. All right, up next is Pinhead. All right, so his is very moody, atmospheric, just unnerving, maybe somewhat otherworldly, so I feel it matches him quite well. I like his a lot. I don't know that I would put it S tier, but I am going to put it A tier. I think it's a solid track to either be chased by or chase survivors with. So yeah, there you go. All right, artist. All right, so you've got the really high-pitched, was it violins or whatever's going on there? It's definitely unnerving. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it matches the bird theme so well to me. I just feel like this would be the music playing in a horror movie where you're being attacked by birds. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but that's exactly the picture that would be in my mind, is this is the moment where you're being attacked by a flock of something. So I think hers is good. It grates on me, though. I don't like hers. I think it's perfect for her. I don't know. There's so much about artists that I love her character design, but then there's anytime I'm doing a tier list, I'm always ranking her down. It just grates. This music grates on me. It's not fun to listen to for an entire trial. So I'm gonna put her in B for that. It's so well done though. It grates on me. What a lot of people said about Ghostface, this is that for me. That's why I'm gonna put her in B. All right, up next is Onryo. All right, so hers is, in my opinion, one of the most deeply unnerving, unsettling, upsetting tracks in the game. And I mean that in a good way. It by itself is terrifying. Got that otherworldly nature to it. It's got that just dark, quick rhythmic drums. I love it. I think it just matters so much about Onryo, other than the fact that she's one of the weakest killers in the game. So much about Onryo I love. She's S tier. All right, next up we have Dredge. I'm not sure why I cut it there, but the Dredge, similar to Onryo. He's Onryo 2.0, if you will. His is disturbing in nature, frightening. It's got kind of the atmospheric noise to it as well. The rhythmic drums. It's intense. I think I like Onryo's better, so I'm gonna put him A tier. But ask me tomorrow, I might put him S tier. I don't know. It's close. He's a high A tier to me. I'm putting most of these very high. Yeah, I feel good with him in A tier. High A tier, I think. All right, and finally, we have Wesker, our newest killer. right, so Wesker's is so well done in my mind. It is, again, like if John Williams had scored this chase music, except for some reason even better. So I know I said that about Blight, but for some reason Wesker's just sounds... And again, somebody let me know who actually knows this factoid. Is this music tied to Wesker at all in the games, or was this, again, created for him? Because I feel like this is pretty typical Resident Evil sounding music, and it is epic, and it feels just so intense to me. And again, when I'm playing as Wesker, it's very motivating. When you're playing as a survivor, it's just harrowing. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think they've done a lot of good stuff with Wesker. Probably the best thing about Wesker is his chase music, in my opinion. I think it's fantastic. So he's an easy S tier for me as well. So that is how I feel about each of the killers and their chase music in Dead by Daylight. So let me know down in the comments, who are your favorites? Who are your least favorites? As always, you are awesome. Stay awesome. And we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.